Hello guys, this is Ajay Patak here, aka Waltzing Wizard, and as you guys may be able to tell by the surprisingly good audio, I do in fact have a microphone. Here it is. And now, as you also know, I have a webcam. So in order to celebrate these two facts, I thought I would bring a really good video today and show the semifinals of Hard Drop Open 9 between Ajanba and Jkwon. And I wanted to analyze this video because, first of all, I don't see any really Tetris analysis videos out there, so I wanted to do that. And then this video in particular because I thought that Ajanba and Jkwon are both very distinct and good players. So it would be good to sort of contrast them. So Jkwon, the player on the right here, he is an extremely consistent, precise, and fast player. I know those are all good things, and the reason why is because Jkwon is actually just amazing, right? He consistently has like a top 10 score on any form of Tetris, whether it be survival or sprint or anything. He's always right up there in the ranks. Ajanba is also an extremely fast player, but he doesn't really play by the books as much, right? He sort of popularized the perfect clear opening, which used to be thought of as a very trolly, inconsistent, it sends the opponent a lot of what we call clean garbage, which means that it's very easy for them to downstack through it, and so it sort of gives your opponent free attacks. But Ajanba really just cares about sending as much APM as possible. Sometimes he sets up some crazy T-spin setups at the top of his screen, and I think you're going to see that a lot as this game progresses, and you sort of see the difference between these two players. Really good clash of styles, and let's get started. I'm not great at controlling YouTube right now, but I'm going to do my best. Oops, I was not. Already messed up. Okay, so we're going to start this, and okay, pause right here. So right here, this is on Ajanba's screen on the left here. This is the basic setup for a perfect clear that you're going to see a lot from. A lot of players do it now these days, but Ajanba does it pretty consistently. You can see that these two formations that he has, it can go on either side. They can even be next to each other, and then based on the pieces that he has, I don't know the exact percentage. I believe he has a 2 out of 7 chance of getting it without hold, but there is hold on Jstress, and so it's higher than that. I think he can get it like 2/3 of the time, or maybe even a little bit more. I forget the exact percentage. Jkwon here is going for a pretty typical T-spin opening. This is not a TKI opening, which is what a lot of players go for. I'm interested to know why he didn't do that. Hold on, let me jump back 5 seconds. Can I do that? Jump back 5 seconds. Okay. Oh, he did do a TKI opening. He just did it so fast I didn't even notice. Okay, so he did a TKI opening. So this is going to be the most common opening. Sorry, I keep pointing at the screen. I realize I have to use my mouse, right? This is going to be the most common opening that most people do in competitive Tetris. It's a pretty consistent way to get a lot of T-spins out really quickly. And so he sends that T-spin to Ajanba at a point right where he finishes his perfect clear setup, right? So let's watch that again. So right there, he sent the T-spin, so it's queued up for Ajanba, and so he has these pieces now, and he has to continue to clear lines and get a perfect clear. If he has to set up a perfect clear that doesn't involve clearing lines, it's not going to work because Jkwon sent this T-spin so quickly that the garbage lines are going to be there already. So let's watch how this plays out. Yeah, so Ajanba had to quickly cancel out of the perfect clear there because he realized he couldn't do it with the pieces that he have, and then he misdropped a little bit. So right now Ajanba is trying to get towards the bottom of the screen as quickly as possible, and Jkwon is going to try to send as many lines as possible to try to punish this misdrop. Okay, so Ajanba got to the garbage hole. I don't think Jkwon did the best job he could have of punishing that. He sort of did a double. Let's jump back. Yeah, so over here, he had to clear a single in order to get to his T-spin. And then, if we watch this a little bit, let's go back. This player plays so fast, it's so hard. Yeah, so this T-spin double, it doesn't have the back-to-back bonus, and so it's not going to send as many lines as it could. And plus, by this point, Ajanba has basically already cleared. So I think Jkwon might have wanted to set up for a Tetris there instead of setting up this T-spin double prematurely. I think that could have helped him have more APM here, but maybe he didn't have the pieces required. Because I'm sure he knows that, but combination of maybe not always making the best decisions, trying to play really fast, and the pressure from the tournament. You never know, right? So, but what's interesting is happens after here. So he realizes he can't punish him, and then this is actually called a super T-spin double. So what's going to happen is he can use one T to put in here, and it's going to be here, and it's going to be 1 over. And so the resultant clear is going to leave this and this gap, which is going to set up for another T-spin double. So this is a pretty common setup you see from people to set up 2 T-spins doubles in a row. And so at this point, Jkwon feels pretty confident that he can start sending attacks, and so this is going to be a pretty big spike. So we're going to see Ajanba do his best to respond to that. There are 2 ways to respond, right? You can set up your own spike to cancel theirs, or you can start sending lines to punish their setup so that they won't be able to even set up a very good spike, right? So we see there he did the latter option, so he sent lines already, which forced Jkwon to use his super T-spin double maybe a little bit earlier than he would have liked to. And yeah, game goes on. This is relatively even. Ajanba has access to the garbage hole, but I mean, with the Z drop that's about to happen, it's going to go here. Then Jkwon's going to have access. So this is going to be pretty even for a bit. So let's watch. This is just back and forth garbage. There's not much to say here. Okay, so that was a really good down stack combo by Ajanba. And so when he was going through his messy garbage there, let's back up. So 5 seconds. Let's watch. Okay, so right here, he's going to downstack through this and keep up his combo as he does it. And that's going to send a pretty big spike over to Jkwon. If Jkwon was in a messier position here, this would be pretty much deadly. But because he has access to his garbage hole, he's actually he can even accept it. Like, if this was going to be fatal, he could use a Z block here and try to start some sort of combo to cancel this. Actually, that wouldn't even work. Yeah, basically he has to have access to his garbage hole here, otherwise he's dead. So it's fortunate from Jkwon and skillful that he could see ahead and know that that's going to happen. So here he's going to get a big attack, and then from here he has a lot of clean garbage, so he wants to send an attack back over. Because he has clean garbage underneath, he's okay with sending these lines. If this garbage was messier, I think he would have held that last Tetris that he did and this T-spin, and he would have wanted to cancel the lines coming from Ajanba instead of sending attacks over, because that would mean that he would need a little bit more time to deal with the garbage on his side. But because he's confident that he can deal with this garbage because it's not so messy, he's okay with sending these lines here. Yeah, okay. So right there, so around here, Ajanba started sending a pretty good combo that's going to end up into a Tetris here, and Jkwon still hasn't dealt with the garbage on his side. So perhaps when I said a little bit earlier that he was okay sending messy garbage because he was confident that he could downstack through this, perhaps that was a slight miscalculation on his part, because Ajanba was able to punish this. So you can see a lot of lines come out here, and he's not able to get to his garbage in time. And then Jkwon actually makes a second mistake here, because right here his priority needs to be to get to his garbage, because this area of his garbage is going to be a problem. And if you look at Ajanba's screen, he's ready to send a lot of lines here. And so you need to make sure, if you're Jkwon in this position, that you're in a position to be able to deal with this. He set up a T-spin and then immediately realized that it wasn't going to work and had to bail out early, but that time that he spent to do that is going to stop him. He has 2 blocks over his garbage hole here, so it's going to stop him a little bit from getting to his garbage hole, and Ajanba's going to send a big spike here. Alright, so that's 1-0. So yeah, so basically Jkwon did not realize how many lines that Ajanba was going to send quickly enough, and so he tried to bail out actually, which is a really good play by him, recognizing that really quickly, but it was like barely wasn't quick enough, just barely. Alright, so let's go to game 2. So right now it's 1-0 Ajanba. They're taking a while. Yeah, so once again, I'm not going to comment on this every time, but this is the perfect clear opening from Ajanba, and Jkwon just finished doing a TKI 3 setup. So in the beginning of the match, these are the openings that both of these players have chosen to use. Ajanba didn't get the perfect clear that time. Ooh, okay. So okay, so obviously this is a misdrop from Ajanba, right? Like he did not mean to do this, but um, this kind of misdrop that's like very obvious. There's a chance that Ajanba will just fix the. Actually, I'm gonna see how this plays out first because it depends on what pieces Ajanba has, and I can't see his next piece queue, so I'm gonna look a little bit and then go back. Okay, okay. So this actually wasn't a bad misdrop just because this S piece was coming up. So the next time someone makes a bad misdrop, I'll hold my point until then. So in this position, because the misdrop wasn't so bad, it looks like Ajanba is pretty close to the top here, but he's actually in a really good position because if you look at Jkwon's screen, he has no attacks that he can send, and Ajanba has a lot of attacks that he can send. So actually, in this position, I would say this is Ajanba favored. Okay, so right there, you saw how clean Ajanba's garbage was, and he sent it in a way using a combo instead of only using the clean send. So that's a pretty common tactic if you see that the opponent is at near the bottom of their screen. You know that a big spike isn't gonna spike them out, but you want to bring them to the top of the screen so then the next big spike can spike them out. And if you send clean garbage, you're unlikely to do that because they're gonna get through it pretty quickly. So by clearing your clean garbage in a combo-y kind of way, like combo-ish, right? You still send the Tetris and stuff, but they're like little 1 or 2 combos in between. You send a little bit of Swiss cheese garbage. Swiss cheese meaning it's like messy, right? So it looks like Swiss cheese because there are a lot of holes in there. So you use combos to sort of send that in between your attacks to try to work your opponent near the top of the screen. I think you're going to continue to see Ajanba do this for this next Tetris, right? He's going to put this I block here. I hope he does, otherwise I'll look silly. And then he's going to try to combo through the rest of these lines before sending up this next Tetris. If Jkwon were near the top of the screen here, then after this Tetris, instead of comboing through, he would completely ignore these lines and just immediately set up a T-spin double around probably either this hole or probably a T-spin triple around this hole after this block is here, because then he's just going for maximum APM and efficiency. So hopefully he does that. Yeah, you saw he did the one combo. Yep. So you can see the effect that this has had on Jkwon's field, right? So this has a lot of messy garbage on his line. If he had immediately gone for the T-spin double that he's going for here, then it would have been very clean garbage, and Jkwon would have immediately sent that back, and it resulted in an advantage for Ajanba. So right here, Ajanba has a clear advantage. Yeah, and Jkwon tried to go for a downstack combo, which is what you have to do in that position because that's your only out really, because Ajanba followed up the Swiss cheese garbage that he sent with high APM, T-spin doubles, and Tetrises and such, and Jkwon needs to use a downstack combo to cancel some of that at least. If he can see a way to set up a really quick T-spin double, he can try to use that to cancel, but then all that does is reset the unfavorable situation. So it buys a little bit of time, but it doesn't get him out of it. The only way to completely get out of it is to look for an opportunity for a downstack combo there. So he looked for it, couldn't find it, unfortunately. So that's 2-0 Ajanba. This is going to be a really long video, by the way. I want to make sure I go through a lot of details. So strap yourselves in. Okay, so this is a modified TKI opening. You have to do this when the I piece is late as a TKI opening player. I'm going to be talking a lot more about how to follow up from a TKI opening than a perfect clear opening, because personally, if you see my other videos, I always go for the TKI opening, so I know this one a lot better than the perfect clear opening. Oh, so we got a perfect clear there. So now this is going to be an interesting game, right? Because now suddenly Ajanba has the clean garbage that he immediately has access to by definition of doing a perfect clear. And at the same time, Jkwon has a lot of this clean garbage here, but unfortunately for him, I believe this eyepiece was a misdrop. It was supposed to go here. And so now not only does he have a lot of garbage over the hole, but he needs an eyepiece to clear this, plus he has an eyepiece dependency here. So here, if Ajanba can send a lot of lines quickly, Jkwon is absolute, no matter how well he downstack combos, he would have to get some miracle cancels in order to get out of this position. This is heavily favored towards Ajanba. I think Ajanba messed that up. Alright, it doesn't matter. Let's go back 5 seconds. Let's go back a little bit further, actually. Okay, so after this perfect clear, so at this point, I think this T-spin single was a mistake. He needs to be sending a lot of APM here. This T-spin single isn't really helping him. What did he do before this? Yeah, that just needed to be a Tetris immediately, actually. I don't know why he set up that T-spin single. I think if he had done a Tetris immediately and then set up a T-spin double... Sorry, I'm leaning in. I forgot I have a webcam, so that probably looks really strange. I think if he had cleared this Tetris immediately and then gone for a T-spin double, it would have been a lot more effective. Because this sort of let Jkwon off the hook. But then another misdrop from Jkwon, like, he sort of gifted this game back. So Ajanba allowed Jkwon back into the game, but then Jkwon's like, nah, man, you got it, man. I'll give it to you. I'll do another misdrop, no problem. Yeah, so it's 3-0 Ajanba after that. That's unfortunate. That's two I misdrops hurt a lot in this game. And that's 2 from Jkwon in one game. TKI opening, perfect clear. Nothing more to say about that. Okay, so in the beginning I didn't say much. There was a lot of clean garbage on both sides. It's sort of seesawing back and forth. Some people refer to that as like seesaw garbage because it's like it's all the way up here and then he cleans it all. It gets all the way up here. He cleans it all. It goes all the way up there. Sort of looks like a seesaw, right? But then you saw a little bit of a downstack combo coming from Ajanba, and that set up this a little bit messy garbage here. At the same time, Jkwon had a misdrop on his side. I believe it was with an L piece. I don't quite remember, and I don't feel like going back. It's not really important which piece he misdropped. The fact is he misdropped, and now he has to do a downstack combo here. So whenever you see this garbage hole, it's important there are 2 things to note. There's the number of minos above the hole that you need to pay attention to, and then there's how much of the grid that's caught. So if you imagine there's like a grid that's 3 high above the goal, and then you have to sort of fill in this imaginary grid in your mind and see how many empty squares there are in that grid, right? So, and that sort of shows you how badly the other person needs to get to the garbage hole. So in this case, there's not too much. There's this one spot over here, but that's going to require a whole 4 minos to take up. And then there's these spots over here, and then these 4 spots here. So that's not too bad. Sometimes a misdrop doesn't look bad, but then if you actually sketch out the block that they need to clear in order to get to the garbage hole, it looks a lot worse. So he gets to the garbage hole no problem there because it wasn't too bad of a misdrop. Ajanba has a lot of clean garbage. Yeah, he's really going for those downstack combos, but Jkwon was doing a downstack combo at the same time there, so it sort of canceled out. Let's watch that again. Yeah, so the downstack combo canceled out his 1 T-spin double, and then they both sent a clean garbage after that, and so it mostly just canceled out. At this point, they both have, it's pretty even field, right? It's almost identical even, so there's nothing much to say there. Okay, so there was some seesaw garbage for a while, but then at the end there, Jkwon sent a little bit of a downstack combo. So now we get to see when Ajanba clears through this garbage, which Jkwon will be able to deal with pretty easily, assuming he doesn't misdrop. How Ajanba deals with this Swiss cheese garbage down here is gonna decide the pace of the match and what Jkwon does during that. So I think here Jkwon wants to accept this incoming garbage so that he can send it back so that it's under the garbage that Ajanba has right now, right? So if he sends this, then that clean garbage comes to Jkwon, and the Jkwon clears it, and then it's underneath the Swiss cheese garbage. And then that's a favorable position, and after that, Jkwon can be really aggressive here. So I think if Jkwon plays this right, he should have an advantage. So he did accept the garbage. Okay, so what happened there is Ajanba did not see a way to quickly get through the, let's back up. Yeah, so here was that clean garbage that the Swiss cheese garbage that he had here. He understands that Jkwon is trying to send a lot of garbage here, so he actually sets up his own attack and he wants to use it to cancel Jkwon's. This is really smart by Ajanba. Yeah, he even uses it early just to time it at the same time as Jkwon's attack. He didn't even get a T-spin double there. Okay, so this is a very bad misdrop, right? So it looks like there's only 1 piece over the hole, right? But once again, if we do this exercise and trace out this whole grid, we see that the depth of this hole on this side is a lot. So if we trace this hole over here and see how high we need to get, they see there's space under. Actually, it's not that bad. There's actually only 3 tetraminos. But the problem is, in order to downstack, there's like another hole here, and this one is covered up by a lot, and the difference in height here is a lot. And so each hole individually isn't that bad, but like together, the structure, I mean, it's obviously bad. Everyone knows that it's bad, but I'm trying to explain a rule of how bad you can tell that it is, because sometimes it can be misleading. So of course, Jkwon trying to punish him, sending a lot of APM here. Ajanba somehow gets through it. He's a genius. There's not much to say there. This is just seesaw garbage. They're both APM monsters, of course. It's a pretty good game so far. There's no major missteps by either player. Jkwon went for a little bit of an ambitious T-spin double, but it was okay, I think. Okay, so right there. Let's back up. How did Ajanba get in that situation? Okay. So that was actually just unfortunate by Ajanba. Perhaps he could have looked forward a little bit more, but really, if we back up a little, in this situation, he tried to set up a T-spin double. You'll see he puts an L piece here, and then he has an S piece, and it has no good place to go. So he has to hold this T that he's about to hold. He needs to use that in a suboptimal way. And whenever these seesaw garbages are in the middle here, it's a bad time for that to happen. But you're going to see Ajanba, he reacts to it really well by trying to use his downstack combo and attacks that he sets up to cancel whatever Jkwon does, but Jkwon sends a lot of garbage here in order to punish this. Yeah, and here, it's not a very bad hole to get out of, especially if he happened to have a L piece there, it would have been instant. But that's really the only piece that gets him out of this situation. Every other way to get out would require at least 2 pieces. In fact, maybe at least 3? No. Okay. So he could have gotten an L piece here, L piece here. Yeah, okay. So if without an L piece, he needed at least 3 pieces to downstack through this, and Jkwon sent so many lines that it's not going to happen. Yep. Let's see, another TKI. Yep. Oh, wait. Did Ajanba TKI? What just happened? Sorry, I shouldn't have clicked back. I should have used the arrow key, because now I don't know where we are. Oh no, a horrible mistake. Did I mess up? Where is this? I don't even think... Sorry, I should have muted the mic. Alright, that was that misdrop we talked about. Okay, so I went back further than I intended. Let's watch the beginning of this game. I think Ajanba did something different. Yeah, he did do a TKI opening. I wonder why. Maybe he just saw at the beginning he didn't have the pieces, but you can't really tell that early. He just felt like it. Anyway, this is just seesaw garbage. There's not much to say here. Oh, by the way, shout out to Blink letting me use his video. I should have done this at the beginning, but yeah, I PM'd Blink to use his video, and he was very supportive of me doing this analysis, so shout outs to you, John Tran. He's a great figure in the community, and he's constantly replying to everybody's threads and making sure everyone has as much information as they need on Tetris. He loves the game. He was the top player himself. He got second in in Tetris Tournament Online 1, which is the most prestigious online like keyboard Tetris tournament, basically. And so, amazing player, amazing person. Yeah, that's John. Alright, seesaw garbage. Jkwon has a misdrop. It's not a bad misdrop, though. It's one that he was able to Swiss cheese through pretty quickly. Okay, so that was a big downstack combo by Ajanba there. It was a pretty big downstack combo by Jkwon first, but Ajanba started at the end of Jkwon's downstack combo And so he canceled his plus sent his own. So you can see that this garbage is really messy. At this point, Ajanba has a very clear advantage, especially because Jkwon has like some self-made garbage here because he misdropped a little bit. And so we're going to see Ajanba press really hard here. Or we should at least. There's T-spin double. What's he going to do? Another T-spin double. And okay, so that wasn't pressing too hard. It was still a decent attack, so let's see how Jkwon dealt with it. Where are we? Yeah. So we're here. He just sent this first line. Okay, so that was amazing down stacking by Jkwon. Plus he set up a T-spin double at a pretty good point. Where was it? It was after this. Was it? It wasn't. Yeah, this one. This T-spin double is really good. Because Ajanba hasn't done the most optimal clears here, and so he's going to send a little bit of garbage, which is still scary to Jkwon. So he sets up this T-spin double because he has time, since Ajanba isn't sending 2 quick lift attacks. But he still doesn't want the garbage, so he uses this as a good way to cancel. And saves himself there. So not the best capitalization by Ajanba on that situation, and really good defense by Jkwon there. In this position, there's only one really piece of messy garbage here, and he has a pretty flat screen, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. On the other hand, this doesn't seem too bad by Ajanba because he only has 1 hole, but if you look at this hole, the amount that he has to clear to get to it is pretty big, so it's going to take him a while to get to here. So I'd say this is pretty even though Jkwon is higher, just because these holes aren't that big of a problem for him, whereas Ajanba has a lot over his hole. This is all just normal, relatively even stuff. Seesawing. Cool aerial T-spin on Jkwon because he's cool. More high APM stuff. A really good spike by Ajanba, but I mean Jkwon's spiking at the same time, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. More really good spikes by both players. This is a super close battle. More spikes. Okay, so Ajanba got pretty close to topping out there, but he... Okay, let's go a little bit back. Alright, so at this point, this O-piece placement is really important. It might not look like anything special, but if this was 1 over, then not only does it put 2 extra blocks over his garbage hole, but it actually forces him to clear along this entire imaginary line, right? Because he needs to fill up all that in order to get to this garbage hole, because this is the highest point of his matrix right now, right? So it's important that the highest point of the matrix isn't over the hole. So this shows foresight for Ajanba, and that's really the only reason why he survived this attack. Now he has a lot of clean garbage, but so does Jkwon, so it'll probably just cancel out. A little... Oh, okay, that was unfortunate. Let's see what happened there. Alright, Jkwon, what happened to you? Ooh, he got the wrong pieces. Okay. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so right here, there's actually a lot that he needs to fill out in order to get this T-spin double. I think this L piece might have been better used just to clear. You can see that Ajanba's about to send a lot of lines here, so I think maybe you should have bailed out of this T-spin earlier. You see when he gets near the top, he tries to bail out, so he did a T-spin single there, but it was a little too late, and it leaves an awkward clear behind. Yeah, but that was a really good game by both players. Jkwon like barely didn't win that. He had a couple places where he could have won, where Ajanba did some amazing defense and vice versa, and then unfortunately Jkwon got edged out at the end there. Yeah, so that was another perfect clear setup by Ajanba, and you can see that the eyepiece was a little late, so Jkwon couldn't do his normal TKI 3 setup. So where this perfect clear, because the Jkwon's field is pretty uneven, where this perfect clear spawns is actually going to be pretty important. Oh, see, so it spawns right there, which would have been amazing for Jkwon, but then he misdropped, so it's a little bit less amazing, but still he doesn't have too much to clear to get to it. It depends. If Ajanba can send another perfect clear super quickly, which, I mean, we already know that he can't looking at his field, but sometimes he can, and then that would have topped out Jkwon because of this misdrop, but I think he'll be fine. Yeah, he's able to get to it in time. Whoa, a mid-game perfect clear. Ajanba's nuts. Okay. Unfortunately, Jkwon was in a like completely okay position to counter that, but Ajanba's crazy. Now it's just seesawing again. They both have pretty clean garbage. Pretty good downstack combo by Jkwon. Whoa! Okay, this happens to Ajanba a lot, actually. I think this highlights one of the differences between these two players. Ajanba goes for speed that's beyond his own reaction time. And this happens to him like pretty frequently, where he'll misdrop one piece and then immediately misdrop the next piece because he's playing so fast that he doesn't even realize that he misdropped in time. So that sort of happens to him a lot. And he's actually gotten really good at dealing with that because it happens to him so much. And so you'll see he's going to do some valiant effort to try to get out of this. Unfortunately, this is a huge cavern that he has to stack through here, and like even with the best spins, I would be highly surprised if Jkwon doesn't finish him off, especially given this attack that he has set up here. Jkwon really needs to push. Obviously, if he just like does a combo after this T-spin, that's not ideal. He needs to send a lot of APM, but assuming he does that, this is free win for Jkwon, right? Oh, he even does a fractal. Jkwon, you're so cool. Okay, he does a fractal into a super T-spin double, so when I said he needed to do high APM, he did high APM. He did the thing, guys. Okay, a little bit of a misdrop for Ajanba, but that's fine. Actually, that's a pretty instructive misdrop, the fact that it was fine. Let's watch that. Okay, so right here, this looks like a bad misdrop, right? Because it like leaves your field very uneven, and so it feels bad to look at. But if you look at the rectangle that I talked about earlier, it's only this high. This is how high the hole is. It's only this high, right? So even though there's this big tower over here, this is all solid. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. I think to a beginner player, this would feel like a really bad misdrop. It's not. This is all solid and doesn't matter. This rectangle is all that matters. And it's very small and it's mostly filled in already. Yeah, I mean, I think most people can see why that wasn't a bad misdrop by Jkwon. It's fine. Good downstack combo by Jkwon there. More seesaw garbage. A lot of seesaw garbage. Okay, so here, I mean, Ajanba, this is pretty even actually. So Jkwon does have this like little bit of misdrop, messy garbage here, but Ajanba can't actually do anything about it. If he tries to commit to an attack here, Jkwon's incoming lines that he's going to send is actually going to really hurt, because Ajanba has a little bit messy garbage of his own, and he's going to need a decent amount of time to build up an attack here, and in that time, like, his screen could get topped out pretty quickly. So I actually think this is even though it looks like Jkwon's a little worse. Oh, that misdrop is not going to help, though. He actually gets through it really quickly. And back to seesawing. Nice T-spin triple there. But I mean, there's so much clean garbage here, it doesn't really... Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that was just Ajanba sending way more lines than Jkwon could. There wasn't really anything that he necessarily messed up. It was just like, he got outspeeded and out APM'd. Again, Ajanba does the TKI opening. I wonder when he does that. Okay, so that was a lot of comboing from Ajanba. He needed to do that because he had some misdrops and Jkwon had a lot of clean garbage on his side, so he wanted to make sure that he canceled most of that. So you can see like this 3 line here, nothing that Jkwon did really sent 3 lines, so that was probably a Tetris or a T-spin double that Ajanba canceled one of the lines of. That was a good Prophecy T-spin double. I think he turned it into a T-spin single, but it was Prophecy nonetheless. More seesawing. Yeah, okay, so this hurts obviously, right? This rectangle is pretty huge. You can see this black space is huge. It's going to take him quite a few pieces to get out of it. Unfortunately, Jkwon has a piece over his garbage hole that he has to get. So right here, I think it would be questionable whether Jkwon should even downstack through this. I think that if Ajanba were in this position, because he's crazy, he would just go for an attack here, and he wouldn't bother sending a single in between to get rid of this. I think Jkwon's probably going to do it, but you could make an argument to ignore this garbage and just go for the kill here, which he might. Yeah, he downstacked through it. And the downstack was actually enough to kill Ajanba, so okay, never mind. But it would have been a more sure kill, I think, if he had just tried to send a spike there. Perfect clear didn't work out, didn't get the right pieces, but it's just going to end up being a seesaw. That's actually not a misdrop. Or it might have been, but he turned it into something legit, so it's okay. That's a misdrop, but it's not going to hurt too much. Okay, that was not the best way to get out of that. So at this point, you want to make sure that you have access. So let's say this was closed off, right? Then at that point, you would have to clear this rectangle to get at the garbage hole, unless you do some fancy like skimming, right? Which relies on optimal pieces, which you can't rely on. So most of the time, you would have to clear this whole thing. And Jkwon is pretty close to the bottom, so you know he's going to send an attack here. I think it's pretty important for Ajanba to leave access to this garbage hole and to keep an eyepiece in reserve to use that to cancel. He might get away with it just because he's super fast, but we'll see. Yeah, okay, he's out of it. Jkwon did a decent job of punishing it, but he didn't really have enough blocks lined up at the time to take full advantage. So that's no fault of his. It was an unfortunate time to have to punish. It's back to seesaw. Okay. So that is an advantage of something that not many players would do. Right, but Ajanba's crazy. So right here, he actually sees, I think a lot of players with a T-block here, instead of creating an overhang and committing to this T-spin double, especially because Jkwon can send lines here, they would just bail out. And I think that that is the optimal thing to do if you're not amazing like Ajanba, is to just put the T here and downstack combo through and bail out and get to the next part of the seesaw, right? But Ajanba does not do that, because Ajanba doesn't bail out of anything. So, and he gets a pretty good downstack combo too. So Jkwon tried to punish him with an attack there, and you can see that Ajanba canceled almost all of it out with a downstack combo. I think that's a little bit amazing by Ajanba, but also a little bit lucky. I think that could have put him in a worse position, but instead it's roughly even. And now it's slightly Ajanba favorite because of that misdrop from Jkwon. Yeah, he made the best use of those misdrops there, using it to cancel. Yeah, okay, so that misdrop hurt, right? Let's see, when did that happen? Okay. So at this point, Ajanba has some messy garbage, obviously, right? So we're going to see Jkwon do some amazing attacks. Obviously, he has a Tetris lined up, and he also has some garbage queued up here, but these series of attacks, yeah, that was super quick. Super quick. He understands that like time is of the essence there, because Ajanba was almost through the garbage, so he needed to send lines there, so he intentionally used the T-spin single because he knew it would be just enough. So yeah, Jkwon's great. Amazing stuff. Had to bail out of the perfect clear. Alright, right here, no, I guess it's roughly even. Actually, at first glance, I thought Jkwon was at a slight disadvantage, but I do think it's roughly even now. Yeah, I think both of them can actually downstack through this pretty easily, so it'll be okay. Right, so if we go back, so when I was talking about Jkwon downstacking through that, you can see instead he sent that T-spin double. That's because he saw that Ajanba also had some garbage to push through. I think if Ajanba was ready to send an attack, he would have prioritized cleaning up this messy garbage first. But he recognized the situation and knew that he could go for these extra little T-spins. So that's good by Ajanba, because it sets up the seesaw in a position where he's favorable, right? Because he knows he's going to clear his garbage. So, sorry, not this garbage. Here. He already knows that he's going to clear, where I want to get the exact, yeah. I hate that double clicking does that. Alright, I'm going to do the frame by frame thing. Alright, this is the position. So, I finally got there. So, Ajanba has a little bit of messy garbage here, and so he does this first T-spin double to set up a pretty good attacking position for him, but then it's the second one that's really good, I think. Frame by frame advances. Yeah, so that T-spin double that he did, look how easy it is right now to get to the garbage for Jkwon. For this garbage hole, he's only one away, which is going to get cleared by the T-spin double. The T-spin double hole is on top of his next garbage hole, which means it's going to almost immediately lend access to that. So both of these garbage holes are free, right? At the same time, Ajanba has a lot of mess here, and clearing up these garbage holes, since it's free, is going to be a little bit of combo, so he knows there's going to be a little bit of more mess, right? So putting this T-spin double is really good anticipation by Jkwon, because he understands exactly what the positions are, and that even though it looks like Jkwon has messy garbage here, and he does, this is really easy for him to get through, and getting through it will send messy garbage to Ajanba, so he's already setting up the spikes behind it. So that's really smart play by Jkwon. And then here, of course, Ajanba misdrops, so that helps Jkwon even more, and now he has a really good spike set up. Yeah, that was all really good. And you can see the position that it's put Ajanba in. This is extremely Jkwon favored, right? Because, like, even this clean, semi-clean garbage here still isn't enough for a Tetris. I would still consider this mostly Swiss cheese garbage, right? So all of this is messy, basically, from Ajanba. And so, unfortunately, Jkwon doesn't have a spike set up right now, but I think potentially he could. This is a good position for Jkwon. Yeah, and he's setting up spikes, you see, instead of prioritizing downstacking. Yep, and then he takes the win. So it's actually tied up now, 5-5. This was a really close game, and definitely a treat to watch. Another big reason why I chose to analyze it. It's actually first to 11, win by 2, by the way, in case you guys weren't aware of how this tournament worked. I was in this tournament too, by the way. I went out second round to Dihwang, who is potent on Jstress. He's a very good player. He's the organizer of Tetris Tournament Online, and so he's been in the scene way longer than I have, so definitely not surprised to take a loss to him. This is all seesaw garbage, which is why I'm not talking about it. Seesaw garbage is very important. Okay, so I keep brushing it off as like, oh, this is just seesaw garbage, right? But seesaw garbage is actually a really important part of the game. It's just not much to analyze about it. It's like, it's the way that you create good situations for yourself. And if you're a very high APM player, the seesaw garbage part of the game is already going to net you wins against like 95% of players because they just don't have the same APM as you. But between Jkwon and Ajanba, because they're both such high APM players, the seesaw garbage is like, there's not much to analyze because they're both just being amazing, right? More seesawing. A little bit of messiness by Ajanba, but it's all pretty close together, so I think he can downstack combo through it. Yeah, which he does. Right, so right there. Yeah, so you see him setting up this T-spin here? That's because he understood that he had a lot of garbage over this hole. Like a couple seconds ago, he had a lot of garbage over this hole, right? So what does he do? He knows that Ajanba is going to be setting up attacks, which he is, and so he understands that he needs to set up a... He doesn't want there to be a lot of attacks underneath this messy garbage, right? He doesn't want there to be a lot of garbage here. And so he wants to make sure he cancels here. So this is a very smart T-spin double, this single rather, to set up by Jkwon to cancel some of that attack out. Super T-spin double, so fancy. Okay, so Ajanba smartly bailed out of the T-spin triple there. Let's go back and look at that. So yeah, so right there he wanted to use the orange block instead of this, the L piece instead of this J piece. It would have gone here, and it would have set up this T-spin triple, but he saw that Jkwon was sending a lot of garbage, and so he needed to bail out immediately. I wouldn't have been too surprised if Ajanba just went for it anyway, because he tends to do stuff like that, but he was smart this time. Yeah, amazing defense by Ajanba there. This video is going to be so long. I think I'll have less to talk about as the match goes on, because a lot of the same things are going to happen. And like, I don't need to say much about those misdrops, right? It's pretty obvious. More seesawing. More seesawing. Good downstack combo there by Jkwon. Holy. Okay, let's watch that again. Let's just appreciate what Ajanba just did, okay? Let's just appreciate it. So here, Jkwon just sent a big spike. Ajanba has already done like 3 combos, and look at that. Juicy. Yep, he gets to the garbage hole there. This garbage hole is right next to it, so it's not a big problem. Oh, I missed something. What did I miss? Jkwon misdropped or something? Oh, that might have been intentional, actually. He might have just been ambitious. He actually gets away with it with an amazing downstack combo, though. Yeah. So, okay. So, hurry up garbage, right? These solid gray blocks that happen when the game goes too long. When it gets to that point, a lot of people tend to autopilot to only downstacking, because you sort of get this idea that like once the screen gets to about here, that's scary, because that usually means there's a lot of garbage I need to downstack through, right? So you sort of get in this autopilot mode where screen here means I need to downstack. But you need to understand that screen here in hurry up garbage is going to stay there forever for you and your opponent, right? So at that point, instead of down stacking, it's actually important to be even more aggressive than you would normally be. Even more aggressive, right? Because suddenly, the seesawing that you saw before, that seesawing, right? It goes all the way up to here, down all the way up to here. That seesawing is going to be enough to kill your opponent now, because they don't have the space to absorb that whole seesaw, right? So they need to either cancel it or they lose. So you want to put them in that situation where they're canceling your garbage. Ajanba couldn't see the perfect clear in time there, so he just bailed out because Jkwon was sending a lot of lines. And we're in a seesaw situation. Bad misdrop by Jkwon. Yeah, okay. There's not much to say there. I mean, you can go back and watch that if you want. There was a huge rectangle of stuff he needed to fill in there. There was no way he was getting out. A little bit of messy garbage on Jkwon's side. Doesn't matter though. Okay, that was good timing by Ajanba. Let's watch that. I think I went back too far. It's okay, we can watch this again. Yeah, there was the downstack combo. Yeah, I went back way too far. Where is it? Oh, that wasn't actually a cancel. Was I thinking of a different part? No, this is just all a Ajanba attack. There was no cancel in there. Good T-spin triple, but Ajanba has so much clean garbage, it's not gonna matter. Giant seesaw, they're both down stacking a little bit. Back to APMing. A little bit of messy garbage on Jkwon's side, but Ajanba's not in a position to do anything about it. Big spike coming from Ajanba, but Jkwon also has one. Oh, is he gonna get out? Yeah, some good piece. Oh, okay. So what he meant to do there, you probably know, but if he soft drops it to here and then rotates clockwise, he can spin into this hole, but he messed up the turn and did it a little too early. So, yeah, that cost him. That's why the seesaw part is important, right? Because if you mess up in there and can't keep up the seesaw, then you just lose. Yeah, Ajanba misdropped his perfect clear there. What happened? Oh, misdrop. Oh, that's unfortunate. Not much to say there. Jkwon misdrops the TKI, which, I mean, normally it's near muscle memory, but hey, it's a big tournament, so. And we're back to seesawing. This is all just seesawing. Ajanba had the misdrop here, but yeah, that's clean upable, right? Yeah. Now he has some messy garbage, but I still think it's clean up. Oh, that was quite the downstack combo. Okay. Okay, Ajanba. I see you. Okay, that's bad. The Jkwon's gonna kill him off that, right? No? Oh, he misdropped. He misdropped. Okay. Okay. So right here, Jkwon has a huge advantage, right? If he APMs from here on out, he wins this game. Let's see what he does. Yeah, so that first clear was already a mistake, I think. Right? There are no lines coming on his side, and even if there are, he can accept them, right? So, where is it? Right? Let's go to a little bit back. Right here, he just needs to set up a T-spin double. Like right on this place, right here, he needs to set up a T-spin double. And then there needs to be another T-spin double on top of that. He needs to get really aggressive on this. I'm not sure why he cleared this and went for something else instead, but this is a slow T-spin double. And then he misdrops again so that he doesn't even get a follow-up. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so Jkwon misplayed, but I mean everyone misplays, right? By the way, disclaimer, both these players are way better than me. I'm critiquing them relative to each other, not relative to me, right? Okay. Get that out of the way. Yeah, not a bad misdrop by Ajanba, so he'll be okay. Yeah, good use of a J-spin there to get him out. Oh, he misdropped the T there. Didn't matter, it was in a seesaw situation. Okay, this is a lot of messy garbage. So here Jkwon's gonna get aggressive, right? Yep, there's a T-spin double. What's next? A triple? Oh! Oh, he could have gotten more aggressive there. That should have been a Tetris follow-up for sure. For sure. It's hurry up garbage. They're both going to get aggressive here. Jkwon has, yeah, I mean, that kind of messy garbage is like impossible to deal with. In the hurry up garbage scenarios. Nice perfect clear, delayed perfect clear by Ajanba. He almost got another one. Ajanba's crazy. Yeah, setting up that T-spin double. Let's see. So not bailing out here when there's all this garbage coming and stacking on top of here with T-spin double. This is pretty classic Ajanba, and most players would lose because of it, but Ajanba's just so quick that it doesn't even matter. I mean, Jkwon sent a huge attack there, right? Like that should have been the end of most players, but Ajanba gets away with that kind of stuff all the time just because he's so fast. Yeah, I mean, Jkwon just out APM'd him there, right? Nice, perfect clear. He's going for a second one. Couldn't find it. Goes back to APMing. This is a cool little setup. He has to just combo through it, though, because he has messy garbage underneath. Crazy APM coming out of Ajanba. Alright, so at this point it's 10-7, right? So Ajanba, it's match point, right? It's first to 11. So Jkwon, you're gonna see some nerves of steel here. Sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen this, but this is an analysis video, not a hype video. So I would be talking about this very differently if I was supposed to be hyping this up. So there you go, spoilers. Ajanba wins. But yeah, Jkwon, we're gonna see some epic comebackery going on here. A little bit of choking by Ajanba, but we'll see how that happens. So this was Ajanba favored for a bit, right? If we back up a bit, this is Ajanba favored. He has a lot of APM lined up, a lot of messy garbage here. Unfortunately, he just clears through it. He doesn't do the APM. That combo, not a good idea. And then he follows it up with a misdrop, of course. And then Jkwon's amazing. At this point, Jkwon's obviously in an amazing position. And Ajanba's misdropped again. And there's so much APM coming out here. He's setting up T-spin doubles like so quickly. That was the craziest downstack combo I've seen in a while. And that misdrop, how's he going to deal with it? I think it'll be okay. Yeah, he turns into two T-spin doubles. This misdrop, he has some self-made garbage. And now it's Jkwon's turn to have an amazing down stack combo. Both players are playing really well this game. Like, besides the misdrops, but like the way of dealing with the misdrops, superb. That was a really good way to make use of that bad pieces in that situation by Jkwon. Sorry, I'm not pausing the video as much because I think this is getting a little long at this point. And some of this stuff I'm going to talk about in tutorials anyway. Setting up that T-spin was a little crazy by Ajanba, but then he misdropped right afterwards, which made it seem worse than perhaps it was. Great perfect clear by Ajanba as usual. Mediocre follow-up. There were a lot of T-spin singles in there, really. He wants to maintain the doubles, but he maintains the back-to-back, so it was okay. But now he has a lot of messy garbage, right? Jkwon's really trying to show off his APM here to take advantage of that, but was a little slow with that Tetris. I think he wanted something more there and couldn't quite figure out how to do it. That was a really good canceling T-spin that Ajanba set up. And then Jkwon just went crazy with the APM at the end. Yeah, pretty similar starts by both players there. The I block came late, so Jkwon couldn't go for his TKI, and then Ajanba didn't have the pieces for the perfect clear. Yep, that's a lot of messy garbage by Ajanba, and he was going for some Tetris there that he then misdropped over. So it puts him in a really bad spot. Yeah, that's just Jkwon playing super solidly and Ajanba being crazy, which pretty much sums up the match. And at this point it was deuce. Everyone was getting hype in the chat, you can sort of see here. You can go watch Blink and Zero T's commentary of this. They hyped it up a little more than I was doing because they were actually trying to hype it up instead of analyzing it. But yeah, I mean, this was definitely a very hype moment because at this point it's tied 10-10, and it's now Jkwon can afford to lose another game, right? Whereas he was on the ropes for a while there. And now we're going to see Ajanba go crazy. Tons of APM. He turns his misdrops into more APM. Good down stack combo. And yeah, you see Jkwon's doing a lot of doubles and triples here. Those are going to start to add up because Ajanba's not feeling much pressure, and when Ajanba's not feeling pressure, he does some insane setups. Alright, that was a pretty good combo that set up this messy garbage on Jkwon's end. He's going to get aggressive now. Ajanba is going to get aggressive. Jkwon misdropped over that, but then that actually would have been fatal, but then Ajanba misdropped as well, so he got out of it. And that gives Jkwon enough time to get through. You give either of these players a second and they're going to completely recover and spike you out at the same time. They're both... you can't give either of them a break. And Ajanba just cleared his whole screen with APM there. So, there's that. 11-10. And of course, TKI versus perfect clear. The classic. Jkwon has a pretty bad misdrop here, and Ajanba sent a good downstack combo. It's going to be hard for Jkwon to get to his garbage hole, but he manages it. And Ajanba's playing so quickly. Sometimes your opponent's just too fast. And despite your best intentions, even if you make all the right decisions, it can be really hard. Yeah, Jkwon had a quite slight misdrop there. But honestly, okay, let's go back. In this position, I would actually give Jkwon an advantage. Even though he has a little bit of messy garbage here, I do think that this misdrop is more painful than perhaps it looks. I know he can slide an L piece under, but he used an L piece pretty recently, so I don't think he gets one. Yeah, so he has to put an I piece there because there were a lot of pieces before his next L, and so that's going to hurt him a lot. And so I think if Jkwon can make use of this garbage in a downstack combo, he could potentially end the game here because there's no real way to combo downstack through this misdrop, but I don't think he gets the right pieces, right? Yeah, he has to disrupt his combo a little bit. So it wasn't quite as punishing as it could have been. Unfortunate. And it's just seesawing. Pretty good aerial T-spin. Aerial T-spins are so cool looking. That's a huge spike by Ajanba. But a lot of it got cancelled, actually. This will be another pretty big spike. And oh, that's going to hurt. That ends the game, right? Yeah. Well, a misdrop ends the game. I think that's GG. Let me just full screen this. I know it's going to mess up the video for you guys, but I just want to make sure I get the score right. Yep. So that was 12-10 to Ajanba. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I realize I might have used some terms that maybe not everybody understands, but I think that's going to be more of a focus for the tutorial videos rather than the analysis. So hopefully this gave you some window into what to look for when you're watching Tetris tournaments or high-level games if you're in the spectator field, and sort of like how to gauge which positions are favored for who. Obviously this only applies to 1v1s, but 1v1s are the only serious part of Tetris anyway, so there's that. Okay. Thank you once again to Blink for allowing me to use your video, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.